All right, let's get a head start for 2025 in your Etsy business. I want to give you a 5-step plan to jumpstart your Etsy business in the coming year so you can move faster, be less frustrated, and get closer to your goals. And if you don't know who I am, I'm LL. I help Etsy sellers start, build, and grow their businesses. And if you want some free help from me to do just that, and you're watching on YouTube, write games in the comments and I'll send you a link to join my free Etsy games program. All right, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Selling online via Etsy or any platform is not easy. It's not as simple as it may seem. And right now is even a little bit tougher than it's been with inflation and rising costs. And there's less buyers, less people spending money because of this. It's not always going to be like that, but that's the fact of the matter of what's going on right now. But don't let that deter you. You can still make it work and get a decent amount of sales with the right plan and expectations, which I'm going to go over right now. All right, so who of you have heard this quote, do something you love and never work a day in your life? You guys like my little love heart here if you're watching this. So if you've heard this before, this may resonate with you a little bit, but this is going to be a little bit controversial because I think that's a little bit of bull. I'm not going to finish that sentence, but I think it's a little bit of bullcrap. And so the reason why, because you need to be passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, it won't last. But it still requires work to make it work. A little bit redundant there. Expectations and mindset is so important to success. And when you're passionate about something and then it gets tough or you have to grind, you may think of quitting. And then you may go back and you may remember this quote and be like, okay, I'm passionate about this thing, but this is more work than I thought. I thought that I loved this thing, but this is a lot more work. I don't want to keep going because it shouldn't feel like work if I love what I'm doing. Well, I think that's a bunch of crap because regardless of whether you're passionate about it, that doesn't matter because it's still going to take work to get it off the ground. It's still going to take work to make it work. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. But with that being said, I mean, you have to be passionate. You have to love what you're doing in the first place. Otherwise, you have a far less likely chance of it working because things are going to get tough more likely than not. And if you don't even care about what you're doing, you're not even passionate about it, good luck continuing to push through that if you really don't care about what you're doing. If you don't care about the audience you're trying to serve, you just are trying to make a quick buck. It's not going to keep you going. And you see many of these fly-by-night businesses or shops where someone's just trying to make a quick buck, just do it to do it, and they don't really care about it. People can see that. They can see right through it. It's not going to look genuine. Your stuff's just going to be thrown up there. And it's certainly not going to keep you going when things get tough. Step 2 is don't get caught up in fly-by-night strategies. Strategies that are going to be here one day and then they're not going to be here the next day. We don't want to do that. That's not a sustainable business model. So what am I talking about here? So we may think of tricks. So there's ways, and these are old. These don't work anymore, but there was ways where you could trick the algorithm. There's probably some other new ways that people are trying to trick the algorithm, but they do like renewal. They're renewing their listings daily or weekly. That doesn't work. You get a slight algorithm boost, search boost when you put up a new listing, but it's temporary. Just kind of see how your listing will do. So people used to game the system and they would renew their listings like every single day, multiple times a day. And that just turned out to be a lot of extra revenue because it's 20 cents a renewal. If you have 100 listings, I mean, that's going to add up pretty fast if you're doing that every single day. Etsy caught on to that. They nixed it, but people were still doing it, which is crazy. It's costing them a lot of money. So don't do that. So don't do fly-by-night strategies with the algorithm. Another one is fly-by-night trends. So if you're building a trend-only shop, this is living by the seat of your pants if you're focusing on trends, because you got to try and find the next best trend, and then hopefully you find it, and then you can capitalize on it a little bit, but then what's going to happen after that trend? Your shop's going to go back down. So you have to constantly be trying to find the next best trend. And if you don't find it, your stuff is going to keep tanking. It's really not a sustainable business model, because when your stuff keeps tanking and tanking and tanking, you're going to get frustrated, and then you're going to eventually bow out. So it's a lot of extra work to focus on trends and tricks and strategies. So it's much easier to learn and go and build a sustainable business model, learn the actual tried and true SEO strategies, not tricks. Learn your niche, cater to a specific audience, and focus on that rather than fly-by-night strategies or trends. A lot of people do that. It's just not sustainable, and it's a great way to speed up your exit from business, from Etsy, if you try to focus on that. Kind of along the same lines, for step 3 is focus on a sustainable Etsy business that serves a target audience or market. When you do this, it's going to be a lot easier to stay the course, because if you're serving a particular audience, like here is your niche, right? This is the audience, the target market that you're serving. This is your baseline. This is your path forward that you're going to follow. This is your roadmap. When you're all over the place and you're not following this, it's a lot less stressful. You don't know what to focus on. You're going to have a lot more ups and downs, topsy-turvy. So it's much easier to build a sustainable business based on a target market, someone that actually is wanting to buy your stuff. So focus on a target market, a target niche, and then you can focus on serving that customer. So if you focus on that market, what are their needs? What are their wants? Can you solve a problem with what you're selling? So those are the things. These are the tried and true psychological aspects that cause people to buy, that promotes them on buying. So stop trying to make money or a quick buck. Instead, focus on serving your audience, whoever that is, with amazing stuff. Focus on their needs. Focus on what they would want. Focus on what they like. And if you're already passionate about what you're bringing to market, what you want to do, what audience you want to serve, then this should be a lot easier. So if you do this for long enough, the money will eventually come. It's going to take time, but think of people first. What do they want? How can you set yourself apart from the competition? Serve that audience better, give them better products, give them, put your own spin, your own flavor on it, and iterate on what you're doing, and you'll get better and better and better. This is the key to sustainability. This is the key to long-term success. And this is the business model that you have to build out first and foremost. And it'll also make your life a lot less frustrated, a lot less stressful, because you will have a path going forward and you're not trying to find the next best thing, the next best trend. Instead, you're trying to serve a particular audience of people that are all interested in the same thing. All right, so step 4, and this is the recipe for success summed up in 3 words: do, learn, do. And I'm going to write this out so you can see this, so it hits home a little bit more. So we want to do, and then we want to learn, and then we want to do again. So have I lost my mind? What the heck does this mean? What the heck does this mean? Take action equals do. Do something. Take action in your business. And then the learn is learn from what that tells you, good or bad. And then you're going to do again. You're going to take more action. And then you're going to learn from that action. And then you're going to do again. So it is an endless cycle that repeats over and over and over again. Where people miss out on opportunities is that they never do to begin with. They never get started to begin with. For whatever reason, a lot of people are afraid to get started. They're unsure. They're just not confident. So they never do to begin with, or they do, but then they never learn from what they do. They just fly blind. So no matter what business you get into, you have to take action and learn from what those actions tell you. For Etsy, for example, you can open your shop up, put out listings, and then learn from what listings are getting traffic. or not getting traffic? What keywords are getting traffic or not getting traffic? What questions you're getting? What sales you're getting? And then take action based on what you've learned and leverage that information. But you have to do that process. And the more you do this, the longer that you're in this, the better that you're going to get. The more actions that you're going to take, you're going to refine those actions. You're going to know exactly what to look for. So you're going to do better. You're going to learn better. But you got to go through that process. Otherwise, you're never going to learn and then do and then refine it and be able to kind of put in those reps. So this process is super important. And it all ties everything together if you want to streamline things and just move faster. And that brings us to step 5 to kind of tie all this in together. Here's a quote for you. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail isn't the absence of failure, but the consistency to push through it. So that is very telling. Consistency is everything. I talk about it a lot, but it is so true. And it ties back to step 4 with the learning and doing and being consistent with doing that. You have to be consistent in your business and working on your business. So many people set it and forget it and don't continue to push through, aren't consistent. And really to kind of drive this point home, I did a few polls recently, and I'm going to put these on the screen, or at least write these on the screen so you can see these, because I think this is going to be really, really telling. So the first poll was, have you had an increase or a decrease in year-over-year sales? So the sales from last year to this year, the year-over-year increase. You can see these in your stats. So 35% said they had an increase. And then we had 65% say they had a decrease in sales. All right, so 65% year-over-year decrease. That's pretty huge. That's a pretty huge decrease. So you're like, wow, man, maybe something's wrong with Etsy. Maybe things are different, and that very well could be. There are factors at play with Etsy right now, but in all e-commerce. So that was the first poll, and you can only get so much information out of that. So the second poll I did was, how many total sales do you currently have in your Etsy business? So 0 to 100, there was 62% of people had 0 to 100, somewhere in that time frame. So not a lot of sales. The second one was 101 to 500. There was 15%. So still not a ton of sales. And it really depends on the time frame. If you're a new shop and you have 500 sales, it's not bad. The third one was 501 to 3,000 sales. There was 12% of people had that. And then the last one was 3,001 plus. So more than 3,000 sales, that was 12%. So the overwhelming majority of people, 62%, had 0 to 100 sales. So not a lot of sales. So sales and traffic, was a struggle there. So then to kind of really bring this home, the last poll I did was, how many new Etsy listings do you add per week? So 0 to 1, there was 54%. 2 to 4 listings was 28%. And then 5 plus was 18%. All right, so the overwhelming majority, again, either did 0 or only 1 listing a week. So we have to look at this, and what does this really tell us? What does this tell us about what is going on? And that's why I think this is, you can't look at everything on face value, because all those polls, you may blame everything on Etsy, which it's not a perfect platform. There are definitely problems with Etsy and a lot of platforms right now. But this tells us a lot about consistency. And there are other important factors that we could also measure. But from this, it tells me, if you're not adding listings every week, you're not being consistent with that, the number one thing that can help you learn the most and help you get the most momentum and help you grow the most, you're not being consistent in that. But then you're also not getting sales. You're also down with your growth. That tells you a lot. So a lot of this rolls up into the consistency. So it's hard to blame something else when we look and we're not actually taking action in our shop. So that is what you have to look at. I mean, I think that is very telling. Sure, I could have did another poll on like how many How many listings do you improve each week? How many products do you research? How many keywords do you research each week? How often do you update your shop? If I could ask similar questions to that, but I guarantee it would probably be a similar thing. It would probably be similar metrics. So there are so many people that are just not doing enough and not setting aside the time. Our time is very limited. I get it, but we got to carve out the time. If we want to get the thing that we want the most, we have to carve that out. So we have to be consistent with working on our shop, no matter what it is. Listings are just one attribute of it. There's other factors. But how do you expect to get better and learn if you don't put in the reps? You know what I mean? If I did a poll and you want to get in shape, or you want to get fit, you want to get ripped, whatever the case may be, and then I did a poll of how many times a week do you go to the gym, and it was 0 to 1, chances are you're never going to get fit going 0 or 1 times a week. You have to at least go 3 to 5 times. If you want to get the most fit the quickest, you got to do 5 times. You know what I mean? So it works with business the same way. How do you expect to learn if you don't do the thing? You're never going to get better. Doing 0 listings or 1 listing, 1 listing every other week, 1 listing a month, you're never going to learn because it's just not enough reps. So I'm not here to beat you up. I'm here to motivate you to get better and present the things that you actually need to do. Take action to get closer to your goals. And these are really the steps that you need to ingrain in yourself for 2025. If you want to start to get ahead of your competition and do the things that a lot of people just aren't doing or not willing to do. And these steps will require some work. It's not always going to be easy, but you have to lay out a plan for yourself, and you can definitely get closer to your goals. I'm confident that you can. So this episode is a little bit different, a little bit more of a motivational episode. At least that's how I try to present it, because I know that you can get where you want to be. You just have to have the right expectations and the right mindset to get there.